Shedeur Sanders, who went back home to visit his family during the bye week.
Plan wasn't to go at all, and I was like a little man. I was a little cooked because I'm dealing with back stuff. Because Sanders, she came out Cleveland, and we just started doing treatment. So then one morning I just thought about it. What if I just fly to Boulder and go back home same day, and she comes somewhere and we get our treatment in. And then on top of that, it was like family and everything, so like there's certain key moments in life, it's bright, so I need love, I need to be around like family, so I wanted to come back home.
We've just never had to see Shedeur succeed without his people.
Do you think he can succeed without his father?
I don't want to answer that question.
Well, now tuned in to the Dark Times Challenge.
I think it's perfectly fine that he went and did this. I think people hating on it is crazy. And also, I mean, what different he's talking about getting treatment as well. One day back at the facility, I don't think makes too much of a difference.
Man, your daddy is gonna always be your daddy.
Exactly. Yeah, your dad's, and also you gotta spend time with your people.
Yeah, facts.
So I love this human moment, but I also have to remind everybody the NFL is a completely inhumane league. And so when I hear Shedeur saying this, I love it because he is still a son. But T, you can testify to the NFL, you need to be around your family. Bruh, y'all had a good bye week. Some bye weeks aren't until week 12, 13, 14. Imagine if you was the starter.
And so as you know, there's been a lot of talk and a lot of chatter about Shedeur Sanders not staying in Cleveland during the bye week and going to see his pops in Colorado and spend some time with his father who's been sick, battling what he's been battling. But for most people, it's a non-story.
He did fly to see his family, and and I want to be very clear because there were some people criticizing that. I have no problem with Shedeur going to see his family during the bye week. Yeah. That's what the bye week's all about.
Right, exactly.
Back injury or no back injury, that's what the bye week is all about. I'm not going to get on that kid for being a human being going to see his family. That's not, that to me, non-story.
There's always one. There's always going to be somebody that's going to be contrarian for whatever reason. And this time it's Emanuel Acho, who's no stranger to being contrary, especially when it comes to matters of the community. And I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole, but y'all know what I'm talking about when it comes to Emanuel Acho. Because he's going to try to make the argument that somehow by Shedeur Sanders leaving Cleveland, going to spend time with his father, that just maybe somehow he's not quite cut out for the NFL. Somehow he may not be mentally strong enough to survive without his father, Deion Sanders.
There ain't no running down the pop and running down the mom.
I don't get why he didn't stay in Cleveland during the bye week. Nobody stays in the city they play in during the bye week unless you're in LA. Unless you're in Miami, New York, Atlanta, Texas. One of those. Everybody's getting up out of Cleveland, Cincinnati,
Indianapolis,
Detroit, Indy, Green Bay. We all going somewhere.
And so absolutely, everybody's getting out of town, especially if they're not from the town, if they're not from a Cleveland, if they're not from a Detroit. A lot of these young guys, they want to go to where the party's at. But in the case of Shedeur, he wasn't getting out of town for those particular reasons. Shedeur Sanders was getting out of town to go see his family. And so to me and to a lot of people, that's a plus. I want somebody that shows that kind of character, that kind of thoughtfulness when it comes to their family, somebody that's not going to get caught up in the riffraff. We're talking about somebody in Shedeur Sanders who doesn't drink, doesn't smoke. You don't see him out partying, this and that. Every time you see a camera following him, he's going to visit his family, he's going to visit friends, he's training. You don't see him in the headlines for the wrong reasons other than a speeding ticket. And so that's a positive, that's a plus for a lot of people.
NFL ain't finna baby you. So when I give my takes and they come off as harsh, Care Bear T and y'all watching, it's truly just because the NFL has no cradles, it has no pacifiers, it has no breast milk, it ain't got none of that. The NFL is for adults, full-grown German Shepherds.
I can hear that, and I can understand that they're not gonna care one way or the other. But for Shedeur, bruh, I ain't seen my pops in a minute. I left for one day, I flew out, I came back same day, and my dad's dealing with cancer.
Yeah.
He's having an awful season. Team getting whooped on the football field.
Because you are being disrespected by the fan base, because you are being disrespected by your coaching staff, why wouldn't I go spend the day with my dad?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm going to go do.
I love that he did it. I only am curious about, we've just never had to see Shedeur succeed without his people.
Do you think he can succeed without his father?
I don't want to answer that question.
Not
That means
answer it.
no.
That means no. If you don't want
I
to answer the question, that means no.
I believe he can.
Based on what data? We have no.
You know what I'm basing it off of?
Based on what?
Then you can say I
You
don't
see
know.
how bad Colorado is without him? They
That
got
just means
they're-
Colorado can't succeed without Shedeur. But we don't know if Shedeur can succeed without his dad.
But if he was that good in Colorado can barely win a game now.
here's my thing, though, T. And
He was leading them to victory.
Let me
They
go
can't
play.
even make a game
let me
competitive.
go places here. If he can't succeed without his dad, I don't even know that that's a bad thing. Anybody who knows Russell Wilson closely, and y'all can Google this information, a lot of people suggested Russell Wilson never was not a good player after his close friend, some say his best friend and his sports psychologist passed away. Trevor Moawad.
Yep.
Trevor, look it up. It's kind of one of the biggest kept secrets in the NFL. Russell Wilson's like best friend, close friend, Trevor Moawad. He was a psychologist, he was a
motivational
therapist,
guy.
motivational
Yeah.
speaker. Like when Trevor Moawad passed away early, Russell Wilson, you can see statistically, he was never the same player.
And so that's why I stated in the beginning that I feel like sometimes individuals, especially when they're talking about Shedeur Sanders, are just being contrarian to be contrarian. Because Russell Wilson's makeup and who and what Russell Wilson is has absolutely nothing to do with Shedeur Sanders. You're talking about two completely different people, two people from different backgrounds, two people with different fathers, two people that go about it in different ways. And to give an example of Russell Wilson not being able to be mentally strong enough to survive without his mentor and motivator, that somehow is going to apply to Shedeur Sanders is asinine. Just because we haven't seen somebody do it doesn't mean they can't do it. And vice versa. But to even bring it up or to suggest it when we're talking about a player that was a first-round pick, should have been a first-round pick, is a bad faith argument. Because you can say that about any and everybody. All of these top prospects that go to great schools with great coaches, you can say the exact same thing. Can they survive without a Nick Saban? Can they survive without an Alabama offensive line? Can they survive without Ohio State wide receivers? And the list goes on and on and on. You could pull that same analogy on every single player coming out. And so to pull that with Shedeur Sanders, to me, like I said, comes across as a little bit of a bad faith argument and somebody just being contrarian. Just to be contrarian for whatever reason. I'm not even going to go there with Emanuel Acho, but, it is what it is. But I will say this about Emanuel Acho and his show. At least he does surround himself with individuals that don't necessarily think like he thinks. He's not in the echo chamber. So that's a good thing. That always makes for good entertainment. I will go ahead and say that about him. But that's my take on it anyways. Make sure you guys go ahead and chime in the comment section and go ahead and drop a like if you haven't done so already. And as usual, peace and chaos.